a good evening Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. And every other Wednesday, we have our recurring show, In the Trenches with Early Educators. And tonight's episode is Violence Drama Causes Trauma, the impact of domestic violence on our children. And tonight, as usual, we have Sharon with us, and we have Lady Joy. Good evening, ladies.
Good evening,
Good
Quentin.
evening.
How are you?
I'm all right. How's everything?
Everything is everything.
Great. So, Sharon, you have some announcements you have to make,
I
as
do.
per the course.
Yes, I just want to first thank everybody for joining us, whether you are watching live or if you are watching the replay. Make sure that you subscribe, like our Let's Talk Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on your notifications so you'll be notified when we come on. Just want to shout out my son, my middle son, Marcus Allen, Mark the producer on Instagram, MARC_DA producer for our intro music. Get at him if you have any need for studio time, music production, beats, and the like. Also, want to shout out our sponsors for tonight's episode. We have Principal Intelligence, a security company. They provide all your security needs from events to executive security, armed and unarmed uniformed security officers. So there you can find them on all social media at Principal Intel. Principal with a PLE at the end, Intel, INTEL. And then we have our second sponsor, who is a distributor for Damsel in Defense, for Damsel Pro. And you can find her on Facebook at Tameka, TAMEEKA, Damsel Pro on Facebook. She sells all kinds of safety gear and protection gear for targeted specifically for us as women. So those are our sponsors. Please make sure that you visit their pages and check them out in the event you have any of those needs. So that takes care of our shout outs for our sponsors. Thank you so much, Mr. Quentin.
So who's this bright face we have here tonight?
I know, right? Isn't she gorgeous? So we have with us tonight a very special guest. Her name is Joyce, Lady Joy Hester. And Joy and I have known each other for several years now. Met her at an event and we have hit it off ever since. Joy is originally from Florida, Fort Walton Beach, right? And lives
Yes.
lives in Atlanta now. Joy has written a book. She's an author of Damage to Delivered. She also has curated a book collaboration, Triumph Over Trials, and she is currently working on her latest project, which is one of the reasons she is here this particular
Yay.
day. She's working on DRIVE, and DRIVE is an acronym that stands for Domestic Relationships Involving Violence Exposed. And I'm not going to tell you too much
Woo.
about that. I'm going to let her tell you more about that project. But Joy, she looks at herself as God's child first. She is an advocate. She is a curator. She considers herself a friend to the friendless and a voice for the voiceless.
Mm.
And her name, Lady Joy, really does express who she is. She's always smiling, no matter what. And when I tell you no matter what, she may share some things and you'll understand that no matter what. And she really does spread
Yeah.
joy in any environment where she is. That is who she is. It is what she does. So I just want to welcome Lady Joy to the show tonight.
Woo! Yeah, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here with you tonight, friends.
So I gave a little bit of information about who you are, but I'd like for you to
Uh-huh.
just give us a little tidbit of what you would like to know, us to know about Lady Joy, and then I'm going to give some stats, and then we're going to jump into Drive.
Okay, so I am the epitome of my name. I am all things joy. I choose joy. I feel like, we have faith and then we have joy. Faith, God gave us a measure of it. He gave us that mustard seed of faith, and we're supposed to make that faith grow. We're supposed to nurture it and make it be this big old humongous plant, because that little tiny seed grows into big old humongous tree. And I think joy is just like that. We have a measure of it, and it's supposed to grow. I like to say God gave me a double dose of it, because I have smiled through some very traumatic things, and I even questioned God, like, how smiles after getting a butt beat? Who smiles after being diagnosed with this, that, and the third? But I do. And so now I really possess what joy really feels like. Joy is unlike happiness. A lot of people get that thing confused, and they say happiness and joy are one and the same, but they're not. Joy is just always with you no matter what. Happiness is fleeting. It comes and it goes. Like if you get a new car, you're happy. But the first time you got to take that bad boy to the mechanic, you like, this doggone car, So I am the epitome of joy. And as you said, I have become this voice for the voiceless because of my own journey with domestic violence. I saw that I had been a part of domestic violence. I was 7 years old, didn't understand what domestic violence was. I always thought it was just, hearing of a man beating a woman. But it's so much more than that. And I found out, like I said, that it had been a part of me since I was 7, at which time I was molested by my biological father. Grew up and got married at the age of 17, spent my life in a 25-year marriage where it was a loveless marriage, but we try to stick because of my background. I tried to stick in that marriage because my parents are still together to this very day, despite everything that they went through. So I was trying to be that and stick in a marriage where there was a lot of verbal and mental abuse. And then I spent 4 years with a man that I probably never should have looked at twice. And he physically beat me. So domestic violence for me has become something that I have to speak about it because it keeps coming around and around and around in my life. And even now, onlookers are reaching out to me to say, how do you do this? How do you have that joy? How did you walk away? How did you name your abuser? Because I called his name. His name ain't gonna get called tonight because I don't give him airtime like that. But when I came out, I had to say his name so that I would never, ever, ever go back to him again. Because, like many other people who are in domestic violence relationships, primarily women, they have that time where they keep going back. They leave, go back. They leave, go back. It's something up here in the mental that's been beaten down that tells you can't be without them. You can't live without them. You're nothing without them. And you believe that thing. And so that causes you to keep returning to it. So I had to have a talk with my God, and he told me to put him out there. It wasn't premeditated. I said, God, what is it going to take for me to stay away from this man? Because there comes a time where you didn't got your head beaten in too many times, and you done went to the hospital too many times, and you've had enough. And you know that this relationship is bad, but it's still that something in you that longs for the person. And that's what I speak to now, so that women can understand, in some cases men can understand, that there's nothing that's going to change about that person. Not while they're with you. Anyway, we pray that they change on down the line. But while they're with you, there's nothing that's going to change.
Wow. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Been down that road once or twice myself. So I want, I'm an educator, an early educator at that. My focus is birth to third grade. And so With Domestic Violence Month, Awareness Month, and the project and everything that's going on, I wanted to bring you on because I want us to talk about domestic violence, and I want us to especially focus on as we share your projects, begin to focus on
Mm-hmm.
how does this impact the children. That's why I titled it, because the violence. Um, the violence in drama causes trauma. Children
Yes.
who watch this, not even talking about the children who are included, because we know many times if a woman is being abused by her intimate partner, the children may also, but not always. However, they're still victims because they're watching it, they're hearing it, they're seeing the bruises on their mother. They're at the emergency room, sitting there made to be quiet and can't speak out and tell the truth about what's happening because they've been told they better not. I just want to quote a couple of statistics that I found when looking this up, and it's talking
Mm-hmm.
about on children's exposure to intimate partner violence. Um, in the past year, exposure in the past year, and this is not 2020 information. This is a couple years old. It says 1 in 15, 6.6% of U.S. children were exposed to physical, intimate partner violence, which is more than 5 million children. 1.3%, or almost 1 million children, were exposed to serious violence, i.e., kicking, choking, and beating. 5.7 were exposed to the psychological and emotional intimate partner violence, or that equals about 4.3 million children. And then the last one is 1 out of 9, 11.1% children were exposed to physical or psychological violence between adults or adult and teens. And that's about 8.3 million children. So, what was astonishing to me as I read those stats, not one of those numbers was less than 1 million. That's too
Right.
many. That's
And
too
then
many.
that those numbers are
Yeah.
gut wrenching. And imagine what the numbers are today. You said that was a couple of years ago. I know
Yes.
the statistics for a woman being beaten have increased because it was one in every nine. Well, every 9 seconds a woman was being beaten. Now it's every
Mhm.
4 seconds a woman
Mhm.
is being beaten. So those numbers I can only
Excuse me,
imagine,
Joy.
and that
Joy,
scares me. Yes,
repeat that again, please.
every nine. It used to be every 9 seconds that a woman was being beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Somebody's being beaten. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now those numbers have increased, and it's every 4 seconds now that a woman is being beaten. 1, 2, 3, 4. Someone's being beaten. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the United States, someone's being beaten every 4 seconds. So the statistics are getting higher instead of decreasing.
Mhm.
But my vow to myself and to God is that I will continue to talk about domestic violence. It is more than just a month to me
Yes.
because I lived in a relationship where I was. It wasn't every day, but anytime you're beaten is just not right. It's traumatic. It catches you off guard. 9 times out of 10, you're not expecting it. Especially when you love a person, you're just not expecting. You always want to think, okay, well, he gonna do better. He ain't gonna do it no more, and that's what they tell you. They tell you that stuff. So imagine a child onlooking. They're traumatized as well by this. They start having emotional issues. When someone's coming next to them, you see a child. I guarantee you, if you walked on up on a child and they jumped, they're seeing their mother, they seeing somebody getting beat if they're not getting beat themselves. And to me, it just has to stop. So my vow is to continue. This is going to be my forever conversation. So if whoever don't like it, unfollow me, do whatever you got to do. But this conversation don't stop. Because the reason why the numbers keep increasing is because we only talk about it once a year in October. And that's ridiculous. When you just got a mother of three, just Sunday, this past Sunday, a mother of three shot 10 times by her husband, the father of her children. In front of her three children, he killed her. That makes me sick. I don't know about nobody else, and I don't know who thinks that's acceptable. But the message needs to be that domestic violence is just not unacceptable. It is a crime. And if you feel froggish enough to put your hands on somebody to beat them, you need to be ready to go to jail.
That's right.
Point blank, period.
Hey, Joy, I appreciate you for joining the show, and I definitely appreciate your transparency on this issue. And it's a testimony of where you're at and where you're at in your process, that you were able to speak so freely about your own personal situations, and this is why this has been your calling. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of our discussion, let me ask you, in your opinion, what can we do to stop it? Like right now, what could we do? Like just something very simplistic.
You jumped ahead, Quentin.
Well, let me answer that, because I don't think there is nothing we can do to stop it. But I do think that there is something that we can do to see those statistical numbers come way down. Because the Bible says that evil is always going to be present with us. So I don't think there's nothing really that we can do in the physical to eradicate it completely. But that's my goal, and that's what I'm going to be working towards. But I do believe if we keep the conversation going, those abusers that are out there, they will start saying, well, that's me. I need to stop because, they talking about putting a brother in jail. Yes, we talk about putting well, I was about to cuss. I'm a cussing Christian. I am. And putting your behind in jail. So, no, you need to stop. You need to know that there's a group of people out here going to hold you accountable for that wrong that you're doing. Now, on the flip side, sisters, if a brother is trying to leave and you're still provoking the situation, then I look at that differently. I had to say this because somebody said this to me on my live the other day. Well, what about this and what about that? I don't condone a woman who will continue to try to pull on a man when he's trying to leave. Let him go. Let him go cool down, you cool down, and y'all come back together if that's how it's going to be. And if not, then you just got to deal with it. But we can stop that too by our behavior. And I'm speaking with women. I'm a woman. I know what it is. You don't want the man to go, but we got to let him go, because that's time to count to 10. Take a cigarette, whatever it is, get a drink, whatever it is that they do to calm down. So we have to be accountable for our own actions as well. On both sides.
Joy, like Sharon said, I might be jumping the gun a little bit, and I truly apologize, Sharon. I'm not trying to. She actually has me taken aback. I mean, when she first got into her testimony, I'm like, I couldn't say nothing. I was sitting there stuck. One of the things, Joy, is we have an issue of victim shaming. How can we combat the victim shaming?
Okay, so this is what I say to individuals, because when I came out, I got it hard. I heard everything from, what did you do to him? What did you do to make him hit you? What did you say to him? I even heard, Why you let that man beat you up? Let a person doesn't let a woman. Now this man was almost double my size. Well, almost triple my size. What am I gonna do with him? So applying a little bit more compassion and understanding for the topic. I get it if you ain't never been through it. I get it if you ain't never laid on the sidewalk and had somebody walk over your body and go on up the stairs. I get it if you ain't never been beat in your back and now you on dialysis because you was beaten dead in your kidneys where you urinate from and now you in kidney failure. I get it if you ain't never had none of that done to you, but it would do well if you would apply some understanding. It would do well if you would show a little love. It would do well if you would take a seat and have a little conversation with the victim, or I like to call us survivors and rebuilders. It would take a little bit, better if you could do some of that. Apply some understanding, some love, and some conversation. Don't turn your back on a sister or brother who is in a domestic violence situation and they're trying to come out. That's when they need you the most, family. That's when they need you the most, mama and daddy. That's when they need you the most, sister and brother and auntie them. Don't turn your back on them. And even if they stay and go back, that's what I appreciate about my sister tonight, Sharon. She pulled me out. Her and a couple of my other friends, they pulled me out of domestic violence relationship. She had me staying with her, and in the middle of the night, I snuck out of her house, got almost all of my stuff that I could carry by myself, and I went back to the person. Biggest mistake ever in my life. But guess what? She didn't judge me on it. She didn't turn her back on me. She didn't stop talking to me. She didn't say you get what you deserve because we had you out. She didn't do none of that. So people like her, we need more of. People like Dre and John and all of those who helped, and Dr. Nia, all of those who have helped me. We need more people like that who will say, I got you. When you really ready, we still gonna be here.
Yeah, that's I want to piggyback on that one too, Quinn, because Joy makes a very important, valid point, and is and oftentimes you cannot understand it unless you've actually been through the process yourself. There's a psychological hold that is on a woman who is experiencing a relationship with domestic violence. When she has an partner who is inflicting violence, and violence doesn't have to be physical. Mine wasn't physical.
Right.
Mine was verbal and emotional. Okay. And so it's all the same, however, it still impacts you the same. And so people always, I don't understand why she keep going back. If you've never been abused, if you've never been in that situation, you won't understand. And it's not our job to understand. It's our job to be supportive. It's our job to, when they do come to you and they need you to talk, or they need to get away, and they come and stay with you for a week and they're done, and then they do like Joy and they go back. When they go back, I even told her, I said, Joy, I don't know if you're really done. I'm done. But I saw the signs. I knew she wasn't done, which is why I didn't get angry. I know, because that's the cycle. And until you reach a point, y'all know that saying, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Oh, yeah.
That's when the person is ready. And we just have to continue to be there. We can't turn our backs. We can't say, girl, listen, that's your issue, because it's not. Domestic violence is everybody's issue, because as we can see, not only does it impact the person who is being victimized, it impacts the children. Those children grow up. Many of them grow up to repeat the cycle. If they're young men and they're watching a male beat on their mother, they sometimes grow up to be that male beating on women. If it's the young one, the little girl watching her mother be beat, then she grows up to believe that that's just how my daddy showed my, because he always said he loved her after he beat her. And so we have to understand the psychological effects that this trauma has on us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and so if you know someone who is going through, one of the best things that you could do for them is to be supportive. Now we can't make the adult leave. Now, if there are children involved, however, our job is to say something to the authorities so the children can be safe. You know,
That's right.
ironically, I watched Tyler Perry's version for Colored Girls last week. I had never seen, I knew about the original play, had read parts of the book, probably had read the whole book back when I was in college. And that's so long ago, I can't remember. But there was a situation with one of the women, and she was being abused. And the thing is, he really didn't mean it. He was a veteran. He had come home from the war. He was suffering from PTSD. He wasn't getting any treatment. Nobody would hire him. So he has all this going on, and it comes out on her. Well, she told him she wasn't going to marry him, never marry him. He held the babies out the window. And they dropped. And everybody in that apartment knew what was going on in that apartment, but nobody ever, even the social worker, when she went to visit, he scared her. She left and she never went any further with it. So imagine how she felt watching those babies fall from that window, knowing that she didn't get them out of that situation. And so too many children die at the hands of abusers, and because we don't say anything. That ain't none of my business. What they do in their house is their business. I'm calling.
Right.
Right. You're anonymous.
It saddens me, Sharon, because I get lots of videos, I get lots of messages, I get a lot of people just flooding my messenger with domestic violence stuff. Well, the other day I got a video. It was a man driving down the street, and the woman, it was a suburban truck, and she was on the side of the truck holding on to the truck as he's flying down the street holding the baby. She was holding the baby. And then he presses on braking. She shifts, her whole body shifts with the baby, still holding on. And somebody's recording this foolishness. And I'm thinking, what? The only thing I thought about in this whole scenario is, what about the baby? What about the baby? Y'all couldn't stop y'all foolishness for the baby's sake. We're out here doing all this stuff with no rationale at all. And the person, I was mad with the person that was recording that. Why is you recording and not calling the police on both of them?
Right.
The man and the woman. That baby needed to be taken away from them, because if you behaving like this, holding the baby, speeding down the street because she didn't want the man to go nowhere. Crazy. And I am sick of it. I know I'm just one person. I don't think I'm going to cure this whole thing by myself. That's why we got a team of people, that we're building. We're building a community. That's what we're doing. This is not just a pretty purple event. This is going to be it's a mission and an assignment straight from God. We are on assignment.
Lady Joy, let me ask you and Sharon a question. When you guys are doing the work that you guys are doing, right? And somebody comes to you with a situation, and it sounds the alarm that this is a domestic violence situation. However, like Sharon said, it's nothing physical. It's emotional. It's a controlling situation. It's verbal. And you try to tell the male or the female, like, listen, you're in a domestic violence relationship. and they're not understanding because they don't see nothing physical. How in you guys training in your assessment of the situation, how do you try to get them to understand that this situation is it's going to get physical eventually? That how did you try to get them to understand like that's domestic violence? Because a lot of us see the signs and we'll put up with it for years and years of definitely the verbal abuse, the emotional abuse, the spiritual abuse, and then like after 15 years, excuse my expression, he done knocked you upside of your head finally, but he started the abuse 15 years ago and you never said nothing about it. And you never dealt with it. You never left him. You know. So how do you guys try to get people to understand domestic violence is not just physical?
Well, for me, I try to share a little bit of the beginning of my time in a physical domestic violence relationship, because it wasn't like you said physical right out the gate. Um, this man pushed me into an open dresser drawer, and I bruised easily because of my battle with diabetes, and my whole side was just purple, black, and blue. I left. That was the first time, and that was the smartest thing I did in the whole 4 years. Was I left the first time, and but he wooed me back. He was 6 months into the relationship, and I was already in love. I loved the man. I loved everything I knew about him at the time. And I went to Alabama and I stayed there with my girlfriend, and he called me, I know, at least 50 times, back to back to back to back to back to back. And I finally answered his call, and he said these words to me. I will never forget them because God won't let me. Because men are still saying some of the same things that I heard him saying. So those are red flags to me. But he says, don't come back home to this building, this shell of a house. Come back home to me. And that pulled on my heartstrings, because as women, we want to know first that we are loved. Then we want to know that we're protected. Then we want to know that we are the apple of your eye. We are what makes you jump. And just to hear him say it tugged on my heartstrings, and I went back. And then for the next 2 months after that, everything was like it was before. We were, writing books, building a media company, going to this event and that event. Then 2 months. Excuse my French right here, but I want people to know who listening to this tonight. This is the second red flag right here. And this is how you know you are in a domestic violence relationship. He called me a bitch. And I had never, ever, ever, ever in my life at that time ever been called that before. And I said, you don't get to say that to me. You don't get to call me that. That's what I said to him. His response to me was, oh, you raising up on me like a man? You trying to handle me like a man? Well, I'm going to show you what men do. And he did. And that was the first time that he laid his hands on me. So when they start calling you out your name, getting all up in your face, spitting on you, calling you all kind of vulgarness, pushing and shoving you around, that's how you know. And it's more than likely time for you to go. Yeah. Don't stay. No matter how much you love them, God loves you more than they will ever love you. Yeah. And that's my message tonight. Love yourself enough to say, I'm better than this. I'm better than getting my butt beat. I'm better than this. I'm better than a man putting his face in my face and I can feel the spit off of his mouth because he's so close to me and he's so angry at me. He's just spewing at me. You are better than that. and you deserve better than that. Nothing you have done warrants that.
That's right.
Nothing.
Yeah. And part of it, Quentin, is it starts subtle, like Joy said. It
Yeah.
starts subtle. You know, um, you cook, and you didn't season this right.
Hmm.
Why you didn't? You know how I like my food. Why you didn't bring me some more seasoning? You know what I'm saying? And so the criticisms come about you can't do anything right. Everything you do, there's something wrong with it. So if your partner is constantly criticizing you, that's not love. Because love would be, oh,
Right.
come on, baby. You know I like my food spicy. You didn't go heavy enough on it. What happened? Not
Right.
this like I don't like my food like this. So it can start subtle. And most women, I finally found the root of mine. If you think you are in a situation, yes, Donna said love is encouraging.
Right.
That's
See her
it
comment.
doesn't
Right.
condemn. It doesn't condemn, right? Isn't that what the word says? Love is kind, right? So you have to take a look at how are you measuring this partner of yours? What are you really looking for? Because see, they're gonna tell you, I love you, baby, but you know I love you.
Right.
And we criticize it and then turn around in the same sentence. But thank you. I appreciate you for you see what I'm saying? So it's that
Yep.
psychological. Oh, he appreciates me. No, not really. But he knew you needed that in order to that's it's part of the plan. And I don't
Mhm.
even think that they consciously, some of them do, some of them are consciously aware, but many men are not even consciously aware of what they're doing. Why? Because when they were little, they saw the same behaviors in Uncle Johnny and Pop and Grandpa and Mr. Charlie down the street. You see what I'm saying? And so they
Right.
had other images in their life, and all they did was watch what they did. Oh, okay. So now I grow up and I'm going to do the same thing. And so
Right.
we have to help people. One of the first things I do is take them to the definition. Take them straight to the definition. I know that's right, Nicole. And hopefully
Mm-hmm.
that either someone is right here tonight or they're gonna watch the replay because you're right. They need to hear it. Not just
Yeah.
in October, all year round.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on
Because
now.
it doesn't just
That
happen.
part. That part.
But I take them to the definition, and in the definition, it explains that it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be verbal. And thank God the law has changed now. The law, you used to not be able to get a restraining order unless there had been
Right.
physical abuse, unless they had pushed you, there was a bruise, there had to be some kind of physical. Now, if you
Uh-uh.
feel
No, no,
grateful,
no. Sharon, I gotta stop you right there.
it hasn't changed
No.
in some
In
counties.
not until 1989.
Well,
Not
yes.
until 1989 did they even call it domestic violence.
Mm,
Before that time, they just told you picked the wrong man. If
yes,
he
but
ain't kill you, you can have broken ribs, you can have a busted nose, you can have two black eyes, and they will tell people. I've seen videos. I've been studying this thing, and they would tell people, women, well, next time pick you a better dude. Really?
Wow.
yeah.
So I'm glad that Lady Joy, I told you we once we start talking, we gonna talk. Uh,
Right.
explain the acronym Drive and what you're doing in the community, and explain your show on Mondays that you do on Facebook. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely share the link after the show, so people could join your program on every Monday you do show on this issue. Just explain to the audience what Drive is all about and what you're doing in the community.
So first, let me talk about Triumph Over Trials. Triumph Over Trials was birthed out of everything that I've ever been through. Y'all see this right here. This is a port for my dialysis. I'm on dialysis right now, and along my lifetime, ever since when I was born, at 6 months, I was sick at 6 months old. So I've had sickness be a part of my life. I've had domestic violence be a part of my life. So with everything that I've been through, I've always had this triumphant spirit about myself. And now a lot of people might say, well, what is the triumphant spirit? It's peace of mind, it's getting next to God, it's loving myself, it's smiling through it, no matter what the doctors have said. I've had my testimonies range from, doctors telling me that I had to have my feet amputated because I'm a girly girl and I like to look cute. So I had on this little brand new pair of shoes one time, and they caused blisters all over my feet, and the blisters wouldn't heal. And they wanted to amputate both my feet. But I said to the doctor, by the blood of Jesus Christ, you will not take my feet. But it's applying this faith that God that I spoke about earlier. It's having faith to know that God can and will do anything at any given time. So triumphing over trials is not about the house on the hills and the white picket fence and the nicest car. It's about having that inner peace, knowing God's working this thing out, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the doctor diagnosed about you, just knowing that God is and He can. And if He don't, it's something that you got to learn. So you got to turn all them negative things around. And that's the triumphancy right there. Because when you can do that, you get through anything. So out of triumph over trials, there came this birthing of drive. And I have to shout out my brother John, because John gave me drive. He is the acronym king. He shout out to I am a testimony and spiritual message moments. And he breaks down words through acronyms. And so he came home one day and he was like, sis, God told me to give you something. I was like, well, what? I was looking for something. Where is that? I like gifts. And so he was like, drive. And I'm like, where we going? And so he was like, no, that's that's your next book. Now this was a year ago, well, over a year ago now, and I wasn't ready to write the book. I was like, so what does it mean? And he said, domestic relationships involving violence exposed. Well, I'm thinking, who about to do all that? Because I don't want to. I did not want to have my face be the face of domestic violence. I just did not. I'm Lady Joy. Who doing that? Not me. So I sat on it for a whole year, and not until Sharon had her book signed, and it was something about that day, and just seeing her move and her purpose, and it just spoke to me. And God was like, you gotta get drive going. It was in that day that I went up on the stage and I sat next to John and I said, okay, I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm not gonna fight it no more. And so now, after I said yes, it was like this burst of passion for the subject matter just erupted in me. And everything that I put out had to do with domestic violence and a statistics or some encouragement about it. And then here we are with Drive. And now this weekend coming, we're doing a Zoomathon where we're going to be asking people for donations to help us with the furtherance of helping women to rebuild their life after domestic violence. The money is going straight for that. We need to put the messaging out. We're writing books to help people see testimonies of individuals who have made it through on the other side, who now will share tools, strategies, and ideas on how you can move forward on your journey. Because it's just a journey, it's just a piece of your journey. And don't give it over to the enemy by quitting. Don't give it over to the enemy by staying and losing your life. Get out, because you can, and you can live again, because you're not living when you're in a domestic violence relationship. You're merely existing.
Say that again, please.
If you are in a domestic violence relationship, you are not living. You are merely existing. And you want to do more than exist. You want to be more than a punching bag for somebody. You want to be more than somebody just come hit it and split it. You want to be more to somebody than just a cushion to lay next to, because they do not respect you if they cuss you out. They do not respect you if they beat you. They do not respect you if they will leave you. And I'm going to say it again, and y'all might hear this a whole bunch this whole year. If a man will leave you on the sidewalk, because I'm saying it because it happened to me. It ain't nothing I read about. It ain't nothing nobody told me. I'm the person that was laying on the sidewalk. You're not love. That is not love. God says love is kind, it's gentle, it's long suffering, it doesn't boast or brag, it's not arrogant. So you got to know your word, know these things, because that'll help you move forward too. Because you'll know then I'm way better than this. I'm not this person. I'm not this person. And if you're in the cycle of fog, you're foggy right now. I say fog because I was there. The fog of thinking you're in a love relationship. Start opening up your mouth so that somebody can speak to that and clear all that up.
Yes.
One of the things that I noticed from my personal experience, and I have been in some very toxic relationships in my past. And one of the things that I'm learning today is you have to always work on you. Work on
Mm-hmm.
how you need to handle yourself in certain situations. And a lot of times that I noticed is I know a lot of females that were in domestic violence relationships, and they, not that we're going to use ever victim sham. I never want this to be misconstrued as victim sham. But at a certain point, they start to pick the wrong man over and over and over. And
Mm-hmm.
I always try to say, like, even for myself, like, yo, you can't get mad at nobody else. Why don't you blame the picker? So
Hmm.
what would be you guys' suggestion? Like, like I said, we never want to victim shame anybody that's a victim of domestic violence. But the victim sometimes continuously picks the wrong person. How would you be able to change that vicious cycle? Because that's a vicious cycle to allow yourself to always want to be, not always want to be. I'm trying to word myself the correct way because
We
I'm not
got you.
victim
Mhm.
shaming.
We got you.
Over and over and over, they put themselves in these bad situations, and they're picking like Lady Joy. You said when you first opened up, you wouldn't even have picked them if you looked at them right. So
Right.
I say that to say, like, because sometimes we may be a victim or a person may have been the person who done it. Does it come to a point where we, because of the suppression of being a victim, we lower our own standards and then we begin to, oh, I'm going in this toxic relationship. I know it's not for me, but I'm gonna try to change that person. Or I see the signs and I could work with them.
I'm trying to jump in here because I got so much to say about. I'm gonna try to keep it, short. But okay, so I'm not America's Next Top Model, but your girl, I'm cute, and so I get lots of a little attention, right? And so now I'm looking for the red flags. I didn't know red flags existed before because I was in a 25-year marriage. So I didn't know what a red flag, I didn't know what to look for, but now I know what to look for. And so I've had gentlemen call us, hey, Lady Joy, da 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 da. But I'm listening to what you're saying now. You just can't come and tell me, oh, you pretty and I think you're doing some amazing stuff in one breath, and then you snap at me in the next breath. Oh, we ain't talking no more. I ain't got nothing else to say to you. If you just snapping at me for no reason, there's never a reason to cuss at me. So, if that's what you got going on, I'm good on you. And I don't have to talk to you anymore. My self-worth and my self-confidence and all of that is way through the roof now. And I'm very picky about who I entertain in conversation now. And when I realize who you are, who said Maya Angelou said it the best. When they show you who they are, believe them. Don't go back a second time. Don't have a third and fourth conversation to see. No, that first time they show you who they are. Oh yeah, believe them.
Quentin, I am a believer that we attract not who we want, but who we are. And so broken people attract other broken people. So I don't even think it's always a matter of picking. It's just like attracts like, So the crazy in me is attracting the crazy in you. But if I don't realize I have crazy in me, I don't know what the problem is. How come all these men keep coming along? And so when you have that realization, it's time to do some self-introspection and say, well, wait a minute. I've dated 5 different men over the past 10 years, and all of them been cray-cray. What's wrong with me?
Right.
I'm the common denominator here. All these relationships are not working out. The common denominator is me. So it's time. And like I said, this is not victim shaming. This is simply saying, let's stop. Because Joy said self-worth, self-confidence, and I'm going to add self-love. And see that? So if I don't love me, if I don't take care of me, if I don't think I'm worth it, why should anybody else?
That part.
And that comes out. It comes out in your aura. It comes out in how you carry yourself. Like abusers can see it. And they start asking you questions. Well, what happened to your marriage? So you tell them all this stuff about how your relationship was horrible. So you're giving him all the information he needs to know. So he can win you over when he really is the same person.
Right.
So knowing the red flags, realizing that this is happening, this is a cycle, it's happening over and over again, and then being willing to stand up and say, wait a minute, let me get some help. Because there's nothing wrong with help until I got some counseling. Right. I kept being in the cycle until I finally said, wait a minute, God, okay, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this anymore. And so until the work began on me, because we can't change anybody else. They're going to be who they're going to be. If you beat the first woman, if you beat the second woman, he going to beat you too. Unless he has.
And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? So in my situation with the physical abuse, had I known there was a first, second, third, fourth, fifth woman before me, he wouldn't have been able to look at me twice. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. I didn't find out until way after that this man, I wasn't the first woman he did this to.
Nope.
He had a wife. He had a second wife. He had a few girlfriends. One of them off the rig, don't nobody know where she at because she got ghosted after she got finished dealing with him. Mm-hmm. So if you have a situation, this is why I'm speaking out too, because I need women out there to know that these men exist.
Yes.
And if a woman does get with him, she gonna know that he has the potential to be this monster. I called him the Hulk because in one situation he's nice and cares charismatic and, loving, kind, treating the whole table, taking the bill and all of that kind of thing. And then the next breath, you're cussing and hitting your woman. Who, that's crazy. So we talk about it again and not stay mute and on silence, we can see the numbers drop too. And hope that they get some help while they realizing I'm that monster.
Mm-hmm. That part. Because that's the other part. Is a two-way street here. The woman, the victim, because it's not just women. Men are abused. You have same-sex relationships where one partner is abusing the other partner. Yeah. And so it is about the partner who is being victimized to begin to wake up and understand that that's really what's happening to you, because that's usually going to happen before the abuser ever admits, because they don't think they're being abusive. You shouldn't have been so mad. If you would have done what I asked you to do, I wouldn't have had to do that. So see, they don't even realize, that what they're doing is wrong. It's exactly illegal. It is illegal, but it doesn't become illegal until the victim is willing to say, I've had enough. 911, please come and get this person and take them away. Until that happens, it's not a crime. It's not a crime until it's reported.
Well, Lady Joy, could you please give the audience and the people in the chat your contact information? How can they get in contact with Drive, as well as your show information?
So Drive is a Facebook group. Get in touch with me, become my friend at Joyce, Lady Joy, and we'll get you connected just like that. You can also follow me on Instagram. I am the Lady Joy on Instagram. Again, Saturday, we're going to get started at 8 a.m. and we're going to go to 8 p.m. We got some amazing speakers. They coming out the gate punching. They gonna knock domestic violence out on that day. So definitely be in the building. It'll be shared on multiple platforms. We're gonna broadcast from Drive, and then we're gonna share it to all of our personal pages. This is just how we have to do it until we do better next year, because this is our first time out. So y'all be patient with us, but we're gonna do this thing. We got Dr. George C. Frazier is our special guest. If you know him any at all, he is an amazing international speaker, and he's coming to share with us, his aspect of what he feels about domestic violence as well. Sharon will be one of our special speakers. We got a lot of just power-packed people ready to explode on this topic.
Yes.
Sharon, is there anything you'd like to add, Sharon?
Yes, I would. We're gonna because the Zoomathon is a fundraiser. I would like for Quinn to add that information. Joy, if you get that to us, we'll add that information as well.
I added in the feed because we had to change it today because we had some people saying that they weren't able to donate to the link that we had. So we have people working on that. We'll be up, and I'll share it into the comment section this evening.
Thank you.
Great.
And then I want to I want to let everybody know that until the end of the month, any books, anyone who buys the In the Trenches, my first book, because the second one drops in a few weeks. If you go to inthetrenchesbc.com, you can find the book there. I am donating $5 for every book to Drive for the purpose of raising money to support the victims and the children who are coming out of these situations, to raise the awareness, to help women who don't even realize it or who know they want to get out and just don't know how. So any books that you buy in the trenchesbc.com to purchase the book we will give $5 off every book to Drive.
Also, well, we do have a Drive. Cash App is Drive, $Drive with us, all caps. And also, if there's anyone that wants to share their story out there, you've been a survivor and you're rebuilding and you are able to tell your story and want to tell your story to help somebody else out, we are looking for authors, whether you've written before or not. We will help you through the process. We're in our first book now, and we're gonna be doing a second volume right behind this one. So if you're interested in being an author in Drive with your girl, Lady Joy, definitely reach out to me. You can email me at imdladyjoy@gmail.com, and I'll get you going.
Amazing.
With that, everybody in the chat, we appreciate you guys joining tonight, and anybody that's going to watch in the future, we appreciate you. I appreciate these two amazing ladies for this subject tonight, and it is a subject. We are in a state of emergency because if you look at those numbers and you look at the numbers of children, statistic wise, we always say that people have two children. So if it's a million predators, say if it's a two-family home, that's 2 million victims, including the man or woman, or it could be both. So now the cycle continues, and like Lady Joy said, is that we know that we probably can't stop domestic violence. We just want to bring people aware of what domestic violence is and know that it is help out here, and it's not uncommon to go through what you're going through, and
Right.
there's people here for you. I appreciate you, ladies, and everybody that's watching. Again, I will have Lady Joy's contact information, and I'll post it on the page as well. And thanks for joining tonight. And we wanted to have a broadcast not just for Domestic Violence Month, but this should be going on every month. This is something that's very, very serious in our community. So with that, make sure that you share, make sure that you like, and if somebody comes to you, the first thing you should do is listen to hear them and don't just listen to respond. And when you hear them, you give them your sincere advice. And like Sharon and Joy discussed their personal situation, how they met is don't be judgmental. Um,
Right.
be able to understand that psychological hold that Sharon spoke about and understand what we go through when we think that it's love,
Hmm.
for lack of better words. With that, everybody have a blessed night and stay safe.
Thank you.